All right, Naegele, what do you have? This is some purple.
So this is a really neat beer from Empire Brewing Company out in Casanova, and of course on Walton Street in Syracuse as well. It has a cult following, and it's very, very unique. I've never had another beer quite like it. It starts out as a nice Pilsner malt base of a beer, so nice and light and effervescent. And then they add New York State grown Concord grapes. So these are, these are actually this season's grapes. And they crush them up, and they add the juice straight to the beer, and it has a very refreshing, crisp, light, dry flavor.
Almost like it has almost a ciderish, but it doesn't have the tart that a cider would have.
Correct. No, it lends a little bit of that sweetness to it, and but it's sweet without being heavy and cloying. It's just a really nice, light, easy drinking beer, and when you're offering people free beer as often as I am, you find that some people are a little hesitant and spurious of something that's purple like that, and they expect it to taste like Kool-Aid, but it doesn't at all. And,
it's subtle. It's very subtle,
and it hides its alcohol very well too. It's 7.5% alcohol. So
and you smell it. It's like this is like a shandy. With grapes.
There we go. Get Joe Load on the phone.
Joe Load is going to be all over this.
Do they make this beer like the little old Italian ladies make the wine?
No, I hope not.
They don't put their feet on.
There's no little old Italian ladies that I'd like to see crushing grapes at Empire. the guys who work at Empire look just like brewers. So,
Do you remember 1034? 1034. Hello, Manaski. How are you? Good
I know what that is.
Good to see you today.
Good to see you, too. I've got the first code here if you want it.
Okay.
And apparently you've given the time already,
too. Well,
too.
I just said 1034. It could have been the combination of my locker in high school. I mean, who knows?
Anyway, the code is couch. Today's first code is couch.
Okay.
We'll do 3 different codes throughout the day. You just enter them on our website.
Here's Bill. As we're all having a beer, can we talk about the interview with Chad Hennings? Was that not really good?
What an awesome guy.
Yeah. And the fact that he's coming to town in this event, that's a great thing that they're doing over at the Good News Center. William, you're on the radio. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. I remember Chad Hennings in college and the pros. He was outstanding. Athlete and person, but there's one thing I missed most of your interview with him. But there's one thing I don't know if you stipulated that when these people graduated from the military academies, they're obligated to serve. I think it's 4 or 5 years in the service. So I don't think he could have just said to hell with it and go.
No, he was still a member. However, the fact that he went out and he played in the NFL, I'm assuming prevented him from flying in the Gulf War.
Yeah.
Is that your question?
No. Well, I'm just saying he couldn't have just said go play football.
No, he didn't. He got into that a little bit, and what he said is he had to be given permission, and what he said is at the time. When the military was down, we were really downgrading the military at that time for budget reasons. That everybody was going off and they were becoming pilots for airlines, et cetera, et cetera. And he said, I got an offer on the table to play for the Dallas Cowboys, and the Air Force let him do that. So that's how it happened.
I missed that most of the interviews. I didn't hear.
He was still in the reserves.
He was still in the reserves, and and once a veteran, always a veteran. But
okay,
yeah.
All right, thanks a lot.
Hey, Bill, were you in the military?
Yeah.
All right.
No, thank you for your service. I didn't know that.
What branch of the military?
Air Force.
Your Air Force. Oh, Air Force. And what did you do? Now, I was kind of wondering this last night when I was watching the event over at New Hartford High School.
I didn't go. I went there a couple of years ago. It was pretty good.
It was good, and these kids play incredibly well. But I was just wondering, when you get in the Air Force. Not everybody flies planes. There are mechanics. But what else in the Air Force?
There's like supply. There's motor vehicle. People. Anything you can. There's like food service. There's everything you can think of, just like a regular.
Just like right. I know it probably sounds like a stupid question, but sometimes I ask.
Well, no, you assume that you say someone's in the Air Force, you assume everybody flies.
They're flying planes.
Well, no, everybody can't be a pilot.
What did you do in the Air Force, Bill?
I was in the food service.
You were in the food service side, and did you serve any wartime at all?
Well, during the war, but I didn't go overseas.
Okay. All right, William. We appreciate it.
Thanks for your service.
Happy Veterans Day. Okay.
say.
Yeah. Okay. Pretty wild. Pretty amazing. When you think about it, I mean, all this guy's standing up last night, and it's really quite a sight.
It's funny you should mention all the different jobs you can have in the military. My father was a civilian firefighter at the base.
Really?
And growing up there as a little kid, it was the coolest thing in the world. You know, like you go on the base, the tires on those big foam-throwing trucks were as tall as my dad, and, you know, getting to, you know, be on an Air Force base as a little kid was pretty cool.
Well, and especially, what year does that go back to for you?
Well, he was there until the base realignment and closure. And then after that, they kept him on as a civilian contractor running the motor pool, too. So he was there until he retired.
What was interesting is to watch when there was some sort of a conflict around the world and to watch that base get locked down. Oftentimes, protesters, national protesters, the fact that it was a nuclear capable, the protesters out there. But it was really something when you think about it. And as the years go on, we kind of it puts such distance.
His funniest stories were always the ones of the kids away from home for the first time. They get to the base and they'd throw them in an apartment, and they'd find interesting ways to set their apartments on fire.
Okay.
One kid was late and put his underwear in the microwave, thinking that would dry it quicker. And
yeah.
Hopped in the shower.
So for those who don't know, that'll set them on fire.
It won't charge your iPhone either. But.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, interesting stuff. I like this, Naegele, and I'm not at all a
fruit beer fan.
A fruit anything fan. I'm not a big fruit person, but these are natural grapes, so it's a natural flavor, and it is subtle.
Yeah, it's just a nice beer, nice and crisp.
Yeah, and it's called what again?
It's called Deep Purple.
Deep Purple.
You can normally get it when you're out there, but we only sell it for a limited time in the fall. And if you haven't been out there, now's the perfect time to go. It's we're in our transition here where the weather starts to turn a little bit towards I'd like to be indoors. And they have a really, really nice facility out there. It's nice and warm. They've got 20-something beers on draft for you to try, some ciders, great food. So if you're not doing anything, all of Madison County is studded with breweries and distilleries. So.
It has become a hotbed out there. I mean, you can go to Casanova, you can go to several different spots.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Oneida County's catching up, too. We've got some good ones here, and I think all of upstate New York is kind of jumping on this bandwagon.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Yeah, it makes for an interesting Saturday.